Thank you for volunteering and taking the time to learn the Discus event. Here we're going to discuss event equipment, event safety, judging a throw, measuring a throw, recording a throw, and how to conduct two different formats of the Discus event, and then finally finishing up at the end of Discus. The equipment you're going to need for Discus is going to be a clipboard and pencil with the event sheet on it, and tape measure, which is going to be 160 to 200 feet long, and a measuring cane. One thing to be aware about with Discus is throwing safety. Since the athletes will be throwing a large implement over a long distance, it's really important that everybody is in a safe position when the event is going on. You'll notice on a good picture that you have athletes and spectators behind the net at a good distance. Know that that net is not a solid brick wall, so anything that hits the net is going to have a give to it, so nobody should be standing up against the actual net. And the bad picture you see here in the middle, I'm standing right there in the range of where the discus could be going. It's just beyond the actual last pull, and I'm in the range. I should be standing over more to the right behind that discus pull. And then here on the third picture, another bad example is people that are on the net or on the inside of the net while somebody is attempting to throw the discus. Everybody should be behind the net and a few feet off of the net. Once an athlete makes a throw, there's a few things to check to make sure that the throw will be valid. First is that when they make the throw, nothing on their body can touch the outside or top of the actual ring. When that throw lands, and you say mark, they are to exit the backside of the actual discus ring. On the middle example, you will see that you have two sector lines. The discus cannot land on a sector line or to the outside of the sector line. It will be a scratch if that happens. It has to land on the inside, not touching a line. And lastly, on the third example, you'll see an actual scratch where an athlete throws and steps outside the ring and or exits the ring to the front side. Let's look at an example of a good throw in progress and what would happen at the end of the throw and the exit of the actual discus. Here he's in the right position, and he goes and makes a throw right now. And you'll see at the end of the throw that one part of his body is touching anywhere outside of that ring. So far we are good. The discus lands within the sector lines, and the athlete leaves the backside of the ring in the proper location. This is a good mark throw. Let's take a look at what a scratch might look like. There's multiple ways this could happen, but essentially the athlete goes into the ring, he makes his throw. The throw may land outside the sector lines, which would be a scratch. In this particular case, you can see right here, the athlete lands outside the ring, touches the top of the ring, is a scratch. Once a proper sequence is completed in the ring from a thrower, you're going to measure the actual throw. To do that, you're going to have somebody out in the field that's going to actually see exactly where the discus landed, and they're going to measure the point that's closest to the ring where that discus landed, not rolled to. Then you're going to pull that tape measure tight all the way to the middle point of that ring, so we can hold that tape measure to the middle of the ring. And then after that, you're going to read the tape measure wherever it bisects, wherever it crosses that inner edge of that ring. You're going to measure in feet and inches, and you're going to round down to the closest inch. So you can see an example of this 81 feet, 1 3/4 inch. You're going to round down and make it 81 and 1 inch according to our NFHS rules. And then you're going to read this out loud to the audience so they know exactly what the actual throw was. And you see exactly here with the picture, you can see I have a helper pulling that tape measure to the middle point of the ring, and you also have me looking exactly where it bisects that ring at on the actual throw. The last thing to do, now that you have a good throw and a measurement, is to record it. Take your clipboard, make sure that you're recording the right throw with the right athlete, write down in feet-inches, and then put a line through or write scratch on any area where they have a throw and they had a scratch. Put it all together and see what exactly a discus would look like. To start off with, if you're doing a flight format, you're going to call the last name, something to the nature of Jones up, Seibert on deck, Bardsley in the hole. Jones will go up into the ring. He has 1 minute to complete his throw after he's been called up, and this is if we're doing the flight format. After that, he's going to make an attempt, and you will see right here, he lands and stays inside the ring. Discus falls within the sector lines. He exits the backside of the ring after his mark has been called. Helper comes in and puts the tape measure to the back edge, the middle of that ring. Worker out in the field holds the measuring cane tight to exactly where it landed at, and then you finally read the actual measurement where it bisects the actual inside edge of the discus ring. One of two ways, which is the more traditional at meet-to-meet way of conducting discus, is a flight format. Here, all athletes would check in prior to the start of an event, and then at this point you can add or scratch athletes that are not on the list or are switching positions. Then you're going to give them a lot of time, about say 5 minutes before we start our competition, and then you tell them about staying out of the range, never have your back to the actual discus people throwing, and you're also going to give them safety precautions about staying away from the net and such. Then right before you begin your flights, you're going to give them all together. You're going to say, here's the order of our flight. You have 3 throws today. You'll have a check-in, check-out. If you need to go and do another event, you need to check in and check out. And GHC rules would say something to the nature of you're not allowed to have earrings or you're not allowed to have electronic devices, some different rules that we may or may not follow for that particular day. Call athletes all in the same sequence written on the event sheet. Athlete Jones up, Seibert on deck, Bardsley in the hole. And then you continue to go through that format every single time that somebody makes a throw. One way we do field events at Richmond High School is the open pit process, where they have a set amount of time to make their number of attempts completed in before the event is closed. Here they're going to check in a certain time frame before the event starts, where they can do adds, scratches, and then they can also make their attempts and practice during that time frame. Make sure that when they check in, you tell them just simple safety precautions about not being in front of the net and not having their back to the throws. Make sure that right before you start the actual open pit process, you give instructions about the time frame, the amount of time that they have to get their throws done, which is going to be typically 45 minutes, amount of throws, which is typically 3, and then make sure that they know to announce their name in school when they enter and exit the ring. If there's any GHC rules we're following for that day, make sure they understand that, like jewelry and electronic devices. And then after that, athletes can go in any order they want to go. So they can go up, and nobody is being called up. They just go up, and they can begin their throws. And then if that athlete is done throwing, they can leave, and they can get right back in line and then throw again. It's up to them to get the number of throws in and attempts in that they're allowed in their window of time, which is typically 45 minutes. Make sure to give them a warning when there's about 5 minutes left before you're closing that pit up. If they don't get their 3 throws in, that is their own problem. We will not extend the actual time frame. To finish up with discus, what you're going to do is take your results sheet and circle the best throw from every thrower, and then you can write down their best performance as well in the far right column. You do not need to rank the athletes. The computer would do that for us when we key it in. Please hand deliver the results to the score table once they are done, and you can do this twice for both boys and girls discus throws, so there's more time to input the scores. At the very end of all the discus flights or open pit process, gather all the equipment and then return that as well to the score table. And thank you so much for your help in making our meets as successful as they can be.